Hey everybody, this is Jesse P. Gilmore, agency transformation coach and founder of Niche in Control, creator of Leverage for Growth.
And I'm Lucas James, founder of Twiz.io, which scaled from $0 to $200,000 a month with my own agency.
We are the hosts of Leverage for Growth podcast agency leverage episodes. We know that in order to scale your agency successfully, there are multiple shifts that need to happen within the founder's mindsets, skill sets, and leadership styles. We are on a mission to interview marketing and PR agency owners on their journey to 6, 7, and 8 figures and leverage the lessons from their journey to save you time, energy, and money in order for you to get your agency to the next level. If you find value in these episodes, watch the case study video to learn more about Leverage for Growth and how we successfully scale agencies quickly at nicheincontrol.com/case study. That's nicheincontrol.com/case study. You are now listening to Leverage for Growth. Hey everybody, this is Jesse P. Gilmore, founder of Niche in Control and creator of Leverage for Growth. Welcome to the Agency Leverage Edition. Today I am here with Nora DiNuzzo, founder of Pitcher, a brand strategy and growth consultancy for small businesses that are ready to make a big impact. Thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Jesse.
Absolutely. Could you tell us a little bit about your history and background of your agency or consultancy?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I tell people all the time when people say, blah, 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 your agency. I'm like, no, it's a consultancy because I don't actually have creatives on staff, which I will talk about in a minute. But yeah, so my background is that I worked for independent ad agencies for the first 15 years of my career. Everything from what we would consider like a boutique size, like 10, 15 people up to what would be, I don't know, maybe in New York, a mid-size agency, like 200 people. Where I am in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that would be one of the largest agencies here. So yeah, really always though, independent, never did the holding company thing. And my role was in growth or business development. So started the first couple years of my career as an account exec, account manager, quickly kind of got the new business bug and popped over to that side. Only in advertising agencies do we call it new business, like no other industry calls it that. So business development for those not in advertising listening and new business or new biz for those that are. So yeah, that was my background, helped brands or my agencies grow from, anywhere from 2 million to 5 million, 5 million to 12 million, 20 million to 40 million. Like that was the range I was basically playing within. And after the pandemic, I really decided that I wanted to focus on helping small businesses, like the agencies I worked for small businesses, but we were pitching bigger and bigger things as we grew. As you know, and you have more overhead and you have more payroll, you have to go after bigger things. And a big account is just as hard to service as a small account is. So naturally, that was what we were doing. But I think during the pandemic, I had a bit of a crisis of conscience. Like, why am I pitching the Fortune 500 when my favorite small businesses down the street are closing? So now I'm focused on helping small business grow. And I define small as under 25 million in annual revenue.
Which 25 million is actually pretty large for a lot of small businesses that actually want to get to that level. But that's cool. So there was kind of like a market and the pandemic kind of created a need, and then it kind of touched your heart for the calling of going after them. Can you talk a little bit about kind of maybe that everybody kind of has like that calling of entrepreneurship if they're truly to be like their own entrepreneur, and it's usually something where it kind of like awakens them. Can you talk a little bit about maybe was there a certain moment or like an aha, like, oh my gosh, I need to start Pitcher? Or maybe I'm not exactly sure.
It happened in phases, and I never really thought I would be an entrepreneur. Like it wasn't ever really like a desire of mine growing up. Like my parents were not entrepreneurs. I didn't have any in my family. So I really didn't have exposure to the entrepreneurial world. All I thought about it was risky, right? Like everyone says it's risky. So that was never really my desire. My desire was like, loved advertising, climbed the ladder, account executive to manager, manager to director, director to VP. I was working my way up and, I was happy on that track and helping other people grow their business, help other people make money. But then I think like the awakening happened in a couple of phases. One, we pitched Dum Dums Lollipops in 2017 into 2018 at my last agency, Smith Brothers, which then rebranded as Smith's Agency and now was acquired by Barkley. So when we were pitching Dum Dums, the assignment was, most of our sales actually come from business owners who buy them as a giveaway product. So if you ever show up at a bank or a dry cleaner or a restaurant and there's a little bowl of Dum Dums, mostly for the kids, but hey, they're for everyone too, right? And so they kind of, the assignment to us in that pitch was, how do we get more small businesses to use us as their preferred giveaway instead of Hershey Kisses or Jolly Ranchers or whatever other little, candy or giveaway might be. So of course, like I being a researcher working on this pitch, and we didn't have like a chief strategy officer at the time, we were sort of missing that role. So I kind of jumped in and did the strategy work, which I love to do. But I dug into the Small Business Administration's data. I was like, how many small businesses are there in the country? Like we figured by their data, maybe they were touching like 100, 200,000 small businesses, which is significant, but could they do more? And I didn't even know how many there were. Meanwhile, I go diving into it. At the time, it was like 29.5 million small businesses. Now it's up to 32.5 million small businesses. So it was kind of this light bulb moment, like, here we are as agencies pitching and trying to get business from what, like the Fortune 500 and down, maybe that's 10,000, 20,000 companies. That's the 0.01% or 0.1% of all businesses. And over here is the 99.9% of all businesses, the 32.5 million businesses in the United States. Like, what's going on here? Why aren't agencies concerning themselves with small business? There's a ton of businesses and there's a ton of money. Like, what's up with that? So that was like a light bulb for me back then. And I wasn't ready to do anything entrepreneurial with that thought, but it was just like, man, that's weird. And then we kept getting asked to pitch small businesses, like startups that were Series B or C. They had some money, but maybe they didn't have like all the money yet. And we would keep turning them away. It was like, you don't have $250,000, you have $500,000, can't help you. And like, I get it. Again, I get it as like running a business, running an agency. There's a lot of salaries. There's a lot of overhead. You got to the building with the lights, keep the lights on, all of that. Keep the beer fridge filled, keep the ping pong table shiny. You know what I'm saying? But really though, I was just like, man, all these small businesses are so cool. Like that's where all the innovation happens, is in small business. Like big business, there's no innovation happening. And if it is, it's because they're acquiring small businesses, or they're like, picking things up from small, because there's so much inertia in big business. It's like, this is the machine. This is how the machine works. It's how it's always worked. And like, if we're going to innovate, it's going to happen super duper slowly. But small business, it's like innovate or die. So to me, that's where the action is. And I was always like, head scratcher, like there's so many of them, they're so innovative, like why aren't we interested in that as agencies? So yeah, that's what I'm trying to like crack the code on now.
It's interesting how a lot of times we are focused on these big companies, and if I get one big whale, then I'm good, right? But then you start realizing that there's more of a passion based around serving the larger number of people that are maybe not at the billions of dollars. And so that kind of led towards the creation of Pitcher. And as you're kind of creating the business and then where you are right now, there's probably some lessons learned from kind of like your vision and then what you were going after and then the obstacles. What were some of the things that were maybe a big challenge diving into entrepreneurship? And maybe if you were to go back to the beginning and maybe do something a little bit different, what would be some of those lessons that you could share with others?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one lesson is that you don't have to scale with people. And I think that's like this misnomer that we have that like, okay, I start a company, people are interested in what I'm doing, there's demand, people want to buy my thing, ergo, I need to hire a staff to do the thing. And what you realize in consulting is that people are hiring you, like you, me, Nora, you, Jesse, like they want us. They don't want other people we hire. Like they want our brains on their business. So then it's like, okay, well, how can I possibly replicate my brain? And it might not be by hiring somebody and trying to teach them everything I've learned in the last 15 or 20 years of my career. Like it's just, that might not translate through osmosis or through SOPs or anything, like if people want you, then like, how do you replicate you? And it might be that you record yourself on video like this, like giving like your best TED talk, giving your best like piece of advice. Maybe you need to do a content series and you need to scale through content as opposed to scaling through people. So that was my mistake. I tried to scale through people immediately and realized that's not what my clientele wanted. And then I had to like reorganize and kind of pull back to being a solo. And that's where I am right now, is sort of in this mode of like, what is it that my clients actually want from me, and trying to deliver that instead of like some sort of like vision or notion of like what it means to like own a business and scale. Cause it's like psychologically, you fill out those forms all the time to get the white paper or like the PDF or something. And it's like, oh yeah, how many people are in your organization? And it's like, you feel embarrassed to say like one, it's like 1, 0 to 1, 2 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to however many, and so on. And you look at that and you go, oh, what can I do as just like one person? You feel this like pull to hire people and scale with people, but it's really hard for me because then I also have to manage those people. I have to manage their workflow. If the work isn't up to whatever my standard is, and I have to redo the work. And I was working like 80 or 100 hours a week. And that's exactly what I left doing. And I didn't really want to do. So yeah, I think like you have to really think about like what your business model is. And in consulting, it might not be to scale with a lot of people right away. It might be to think about scaling in other ways.
So then that leads towards a topic of what growth or success means to you in your consultancy. So what are you working on or working towards that would be success for you in the next 1 to 3 years, maybe?
Yeah. So I think now I think about success, not so much as, how much money I'm going to make or what my title is. Like maybe that was the thing we were working on, like in the agency when you're an employee, right? But now as an entrepreneur, I'm thinking about my impact. So like if my goal is to help small businesses grow, how many small businesses could I actually like impact or help a year in 5 years, in 10 years? And like, what's that ripple effect? And does that mean I do need to have a network or a team or something to expand the impact? Or is it that I'm expanding that and that impact through like a content series? Like I've been jokingly calling like this thing I'm working on small business OnlyFans. It's like pay what you can afford for the content you want. Is it that? Is it something like that? Is it something that I naturally do in my life anyway? And which is sort of like my brand archetype is the matchmaker. Like I naturally am matching people. Like I hear somebody say, what I really need is a video. And I go, oh, I know this really cool video production company. Let me put you together in a room. Let me see what can happen with that. And I do that constantly, like in my life. I do it outside of work. I don't do it for love matches. I tell people like, don't ask me for a love match, but I've matched people to like who wanted to adopt a dog, to somebody who was like fostering a dog. Like I do stuff, just do stuff like that. It's just who I am. So I'm like, okay, well, that does take work on my part. It takes effort. Like, how do I monetize that? Almost becoming one aspect of my business is like a brokerage essentially between small businesses that need service providers, because there is no like how there's like big business has agencies and they partner up. It's like small business has blank Fiverr, people on Upwork. Like it's very decentralized. So like, could I create a more centralized like hub brokerage for these small businesses that say, what I really need is a web developer. And then here are some really fantastic, very highly qualified, very vetted web developers that I could pair up with them. And then, I'm taking a percentage of that for whoever gets the job, like something like that, So yeah, I'm trying to think creatively about where does this go, but it's all with in service of like having more impact on more small businesses.
Awesome. And thanks for being on the show. What is the best way of people getting in touch with you? Do you have any offers for them that they can take advantage of?
Sure. Well, the best way to get in touch with me is follow me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to have chats in the direct message, environment there. I think that's how Jesse and I got in touch with each other initially. So yeah, find me on LinkedIn. You can follow all my content there. My website is actually like, it's a joke amongst my web developer friends because it's really just a form fill. It's like, need to grow, fill out this form. Like it's very much not, there's no information on there about Pitcher, but if you go and follow me on LinkedIn, you follow our company page on LinkedIn. I think it's like whatever LinkedIn/Pitcher Growth. You'll find it. It's my employer on LinkedIn. So you can find us there, learn more about what we're doing. And then, yeah, I mean, really right now, sort of the sort of entry point for working with me would probably be coaching. I'm still working on this small business OnlyFans concept. It's not up and live yet. So, you can't buy my content other than like through me and that kind of stuff. So yeah, just coaching would be a way that you could sort of get a taste of what we do for small businesses. But the main thing that we start with is really a growth diagnostic, which is to understand why you aren't growing anymore or why you're not growing at the rate you want to grow, and just getting in under the hood and kind of diagnosing that for you. Sometimes, you can't see the forest through the trees. So that's kind of the entry point to working with us.
Cool. Well, Nora, thanks a lot for being on the show, and we'll be following you on LinkedIn.
Thanks for having me, Jesse.
All right. Bye. Agency owners, if you want to transform your agency to sustain and grow without your direct involvement, where you can stop working in the business and switch to working on the business, where you can regain control of your time, delegate effectively, get paid what you're worth, and have your team run the day-to-day, go to nicheincontrol.com/case study right now to learn more about Leverage for Growth. You can book a free strategy session with us to look at your systems, understand what needs to be done in order for you to scale, and get a free strategic plan for the next year to live the life of entrepreneurship that you've always dreamed about. Go to nicheincontrol.com/case study. That is nicheincontrol.com/case study now.